Let's begin with Shamsul Alam Pantho. What are you observing in this visit of Ishaq Dars in Bangladesh? Because this is a very significant and very historic visit.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rashid Kanchan. Very good afternoon to you, and very good afternoon to Mr. Salim Samad, and of course, good morning to Norman Floyd Barnes in Washington, D.C. Of course, this would be the first in the last 13 years where a foreign minister of Pakistan has visited Bangladesh, and of course, he's also the deputy prime minister of Pakistan. So definitely, we need to understand the importance of both of the roles that he is playing. There should be meetings even today with the respected foreign minister. Not only so, we understand that there would be future collaboration in multiple fields, including the military, trade, of course, understanding how we can benefit from one another. And previously we were talking about flights, direct flights between the two nations, Karachi and Dhaka. If that were to happen, that would be mutually beneficial. Of course, many parts of society does take to the fact of them apologizing for the events of 1971. However, history states that they have done so many times on many occasions. However, alongside, I do have other news that are of significance today. Over the weekend, we see FBI raiding the home of National Security Advisor John Bolton in America, and additionally, the Pentagon is trying to block long-range missiles capability for Kiev, so Kiev might try to attack Russia in the coming days, and Pentagon has already blocked such an effect. So there's much in the agenda today.
You have raised a very huge things that Pentagon itself blocked the long-range missiles from Ukraine to Russia. What are the implications of Russian recent military exercises near the Baltic region for European security? Because you have heard that Russia has done the third largest operations to Ukraine in the civilian zone with 40 ballistic missiles and 600 drones. But on the other side, you see the peace negotiation is in the highest level going on.
Thank you for the question. I just want to add on here that over the weekend, we see on August 22nd, Donald Trump and FIFA president Gianni Infantino was in the Oval Office, and much of the reporters or the media spokesperson that they were there, they asked about this Russian issue, which Donald Trump said he's warning of massive sanctions or tariffs one another based on what it is, and definitely on Russia in between 2 weeks. And now when Donald Trump says 2 weeks, he definitely doesn't mean that. I give you an example. During the Iran conflict, he said 2 weeks, and on the third day, he had bombed the nuclear facilities. Now, what Donald Trump said, there is now going to be another 2-week timeline for Russia to end or understand this aggression that they have. Of course, Russia has the intention to occupy the land on the eastern flank of Ukraine. We've been continuously reporting the fact that their aggression is continuous, and right now, as we started the show saying, Pentagon is removing the U.S. missile capabilities for Kiev. Of course, this definitely shows that there is a third aspect to this war between Ukraine and Russia, and is day by day it's coming out as involvement of the United States of America. Even though Donald Trump initially said that it will be a bilateral meeting before a trilateral meeting could ever be imagined. Now, before that can happen, Putin and Zelensky definitely need to sit down and understand the casualties of this war that has been going on for the better half of 3.5 years.
Ukraine has got exhausted, but last 3 years, me and our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho observing, working on this war situation. Sir, it was supposed to be Russia to be isolated because the actions of Washington and NATO members. Now see the bottom result. Ukraine became loser, became exhausted, became, according to Salim Samad, became even loser. So was it the diplomacy by the Washington and NATO members to make a weaker country beside Russia to use their land to protect themselves from Russia? Complicated, I know.
That was a very eloquent breakdown in questioning, but let me add on here, when we see Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump meeting in Alaska, August 15th, that day was a very critical turning point in the aggression towards Ukraine. Of course, the two leaders have shared camera time. The two leaders addressed the press. And of course, many world critics of Donald Trump say that it was a win for Vladimir Putin to leave from Alaska, historical land belonging to Russia. And not only so, today the agenda of this entire meeting was also a historic land of Russia, I mean Ukraine. So of course, it had scared the entire European Union countries. The leaders of multiple countries in Europe were seen immediately afterwards on Monday on that week meeting with Donald Trump. As Donald Trump was introducing everyone, he was not seen in support of the Russian regime or the Russian aggression, but Europe does remain in the coalition of the willing. 30 nations in Europe who are trying to understand how to stop Russia from this aggression, because they understand that the threat is far closer to them than it is to the United States of America. That is why we see various changes in international diplomacy and geopolitics. Today's important news that I was telling earlier, the Pentagon about restrictal of the long-range capable missiles. This definitely changes the war front. And of course, the drone strikes that are continuous by Russia are definitely causing a lot of casualties as well.